The lobby's polished granite floors reflected the harsh fluorescent lights like a mirror to hell. And there I stood, frozen, as my dad emerged from the elevator with a cardboard box clutched under one arm. He was 50, built like a linebacker from decades of warehouse shifts. But that day he looked small, defeated. His flannel shirt was untucked, and his work boots scuffed the floor with each heavy step. I was 21, just wrapping up my summer internship at Sterling Freight, the company he'd given his life to. I'd come to pick him up, thinking it was just another Friday. But the way he avoided my eyes told me everything. He set the box down by the revolving doors, adjusted his cap, and forced a grin. Well,
Kid.
looks like early retirement. Inside that box, a lifetime, faded safety manuals, a toolkit he'd customized himself, and a battered stainless steel mug engraved with "World's Best Dad" from me on Father's Day years ago. No goodbye party. No pat on the back, just a curt email from HR and security watching like hawks. Behind the glass partition, I glimpsed the CEO. Reginald Sterling, too. A silver-haired shark in a tailored suit, chuckling with his board as they sipped espressos. He caught my stare, smirked, and loud whispered to an aide, "The girl's just a summer hire. She'll learn, business isn't for sentimental fools." Sentimental fools. That's what he called my dad. Jack Harlan, the guy who'd clocked in at dawn for 27 years, rerouted entire fleets during blackouts, mentored every rookie without ego, and once pulled a 36-hour marathon to avert a $1 million inventory disaster.
Now.
Streamlined operations meant he was obsolete. I helped him load the box into his Chevy truck, the engine rumbling like it shared his exhaustion. We drove back to our split-level home in the Chicago suburbs in thick silence, broken only by the tick of the turn signal. At home, he headed straight to the garage, his sanctuary of socket wrenches and half-fixed lawn equipment. I followed, handing him a cold soda from the mini-fridge. He popped it open with a wrench, took a swig, and muttered, "No bitterness."
Mia.
It's how corporate America rolls these days. But I saw the clench in his jaw, the way his shoulders slumped like the weight of betrayal had finally broken him. I wanted to rage, to shatter something, but instead, I sat on a stool, staring at oil stains on the floor, vowing silently, they'd pay for this. That night, alone in my room, the anger simmered low, a quiet heat building in my chest. I fired up my old laptop, the one with the sticky keys from community college, and dove into online tutorials. I dabbled in coding during a required class, basic algorithms for fun, but now it felt urgent. Freight wasn't glamour, it was the invisible pulse of the economy. Trucks, routes, inventories. If I could hack that, optimize it better than Sterling's clunky systems Dad had griped about forever, I could build something unstoppable. Something to make them regret. By morning, I'd scripted a crude route planner, testing it on mock data from public maps. It shaved simulated times by 15%. Trash, but a start. Dad noticed my red eyes over breakfast. Rough night. I nodded, not ready to share. Instead, I quit the internship early, citing personal reasons, and threw myself into the void. Days blurred, free MIT courses on AI, forums dissecting supply chain flaws, nights fueled by cheap coffee and determination. My bedroom became a war room, post-its on walls mapping neural nets, energy bars wrappers littering the floor. Friends texted less. I ghosted parties. "You're obsessing," one said. Maybe. But every debugged line was a brick in a fortress. Every error fixed a step toward justice. Dad peeked in one evening, concern etching his face. "Don't let this consume you, Mia." I showed him the prototype, a dashboard predicting delays. His eyes sparkled faintly. That's clever. Like what I always said they needed. He paused, voice rough. But life's not just work. I hugged him, but the fire inside was kindling slow, steady, promising a blaze. Months passed in isolation. I moved to a dingy one-bedroom in the city, walls echoing with train horns. Freelance gigs paid rent, fixing bugs for startups. Anything code-related. My system evolved, named Anchor, after Dad's unshakable reliability. Modules honored him. Harlan Hub for core logistics. Indoor Engine for resilience modeling. I scraped industry reports, joined anonymous chats, exploited every crack in the system. One stormy night, as thunder rattled the windows, I hit a milestone. Anchor simulated a full warehouse overhaul, cutting waste by 50%. I laughed alone, tears mixing with rain on the sill. The pressure mounted, grief turning to purpose, loneliness to fuel. This wasn't revenge yet, it was preparation. The slow wind-up before the pitch. The garage at Dad's house smelled of motor oil and sawdust, a constant even as the world spun faster around us. I'd visit weekends, helping him tinker with an old carburetor or just sitting in companionable quiet. He'd found odd jobs, fixing neighbors' appliances, but the spark was dimmed, like a bulb on its last filament. Keeps me out of trouble, he'd joke. But I saw the void where purpose used to be. In my apartment, Anchor consumed everything. I bootstrapped ruthlessly, pawned jewelry for a better GPU, ate ramen to fund cloud servers, scoured Craigslist for deals. No investors, no way I'd dilute control. The first beta test came via a small distributor in Indiana, desperate after a flood wrecked their scheduling. I customized Anchor remotely. Within weeks, their on-time deliveries jumped 35%. They paid modestly, but it was validation. Real money from real results. Word trickled out. By year 2, Anchor powered for clients under white-label deals. I hired a part-time coder from freelance sites, keeping them in the dark on the big picture. Revenue trickled in, enough for a modest office setup in my living room. Dad visited once, marveling at the humming monitors. This is impressive.
Mia.
You're building something real. His pride swelled the ache inside me, the slow build of emotions. From simmering resentment to a deepening drive. Nights were marathons, coding till dawn, dreaming in flowcharts. A breakthrough hit at 4 a.m., integrating machine learning for adaptive routing, factoring weather and traffic in real time. Patented it under a shell entity. Layers of anonymity. Sterling freight. Meanwhile, faltered. Headlines about supply snarls. Stock dips. I devoured them, the pressure coiling tighter. Year 3 exploded quietly. A mid-tier retailer in California adopted Anchor. Their metrics soared, earning me 6 figures. I reinvested. Advanced APIs. Scalability tests. Nexus Freight emerged as the company name, subtle, strong, like an unbreakable link. I created a front, Jordan Hale, a charismatic CEO persona with AI-generated headshots and voice modulation for calls. No FaceTime for me, just the work. Isolation deepened. Missed birthdays. Faded friendships. You need balance, Dad said over phone calls. But balance felt like surrender. One evening, poring over Sterling's quarterly report, I spotted weakness, outdated tech hemorrhaging cash. My pulse quickened, the damning emotions cresting. I formed Phantom Partners, an anonymized LLC for acquisitions. Scouted intel, board unrest. Harlan's ego blinding him to decay. Phantom's proposal gelled, turnaround bid with tech synergies. To infiltrate, I altered my look, blonde highlights gone, contacts for glasses, A fabricated resume as Lila Brooks, eager operations intern. Applied through a ghost recruiter, they hired fast. Starving for help. Walking into Sterling's HQ after 4 years felt surreal. The same sterile lobby. But now I was the infiltrator. Day 1. Dumped in a cubby with spreadsheets reeking of neglect. I grinned inwardly, noting every inefficiency. Overheard Harlan in halls. We need fresh ideas, not relics. The boil intensified, emotions churning toward release. Weeks in, I gathered dirt, bloated bids, ignored audits, keylogged a manager's system during assistance. Data flowed to Phantom. Models projected. Integration could flip losses to profits. Anonymous tips to the board stirred the pot. Efficiency gaps exposed. Dad sensed the shift. You sound electric. Big things brewing, I teased. The pressure was at its peak. Years of quiet fury ready to erupt. The hum of outdated servers in Sterling's IT closet was a constant drone, like the company's dying heartbeat. As Lila, I was invisible, fetching reports. Enduring condescension. But every task was intel. Mapping vendor fraud. Tracing deferred upgrades. The system Dad had warned about years ago was a relic, ripe for exploitation. Break times yielded gems. Harlan lunched with execs. Voice carrying. Cut that old mechanic loose back in 18. Dead weight. Laughter followed. I recorded discreetly. The simmer turning hotter. One day, he passed me. In turn, coffee black. I complied, but filed his casual dismissal away. Phantom's bid landed. Modest cash. Massive tech upside. Board intrigued. Due diligence began. I fed inside scoops. A leaked file on compliance risks. Triggering buyer leverage. Paranoia spread. Meetings behind closed doors. Harlan snapping at shadows. At home. Nexus thrived. Valuation hitting 8 figures. Dad visited. Bringing pie. Proud. But worried. You're all work. His words amplified the emotional swell. Love. Vengeance intertwining. Escalation. Anonymous dossiers on misspent funds. Emailed to directors. Whispers grew. A VP cornered me. Heard anything odd?
No.
Sir. I lied sweetly. Traced his trails for more dirt. One night, driving to Dad's under starless skies. Tension gripped me. He was on the swing, beer in hand. We talked life. But I hinted. News soon, trust me. He nodded. Eyes knowing. Back city-bound. The boil was furious. Release imminent. Harlan unraveled. Cancelled sessions. Blame games. Memos urged loyalty. Amid Slack satire. Pulled into a huddle. I noted slush funds. Condensed into another drop. Red flags waved. The air crackled. Board leaning to Phantom. I planted final seeds. Annotated decks questioning leadership. The dam cracked. Emotions surging. The fluorescent buzz in Sterling's lower levels felt like a ticking clock. Counting down to implosion. Lila fit perfectly. Polite. Efficient. Overlooked. But I was a sponge. Absorbing every flaw. Redundant processes costing thousands. Ignored AI trends. Dad would have shaken his head. I weaponized it. In the executive wing. Harlan's voice boomed during catered meetings. We trimmed the fat long ago, kept us agile. His cronies nodded. But I lingered. Refilling pitchers. Catching gems like that grease monkey Jack. Good riddance. Legacy's a liability. My recorder captured it. The heat building. Phantom's proposal hit inboxes. Turnaround with Nexus tech baked in. Board bit. Diligence phase opened doors for more intel. I slipped in a forgotten report highlighting negligence clauses. Buyer control activated. Paranoia bloomed. Extra security. Whispered accusations. Harlan's memos preached unity. but morale tanked. At my desk, I compiled vendor bloat. Phantom invoices, $500K vanished. Anonymous send to board. Storm brewed. Dad called. You okay? Sound intense. Closing a chapter, I said. His support fueled the rising tide. More drops, evidence of safety deferrals. Emailed securely. A director flinched passing me. Guilt or fear. I traced emails for deeper dirt. That Friday. Harlan in lounge. His kid was here once, sharp. But naive. Probably barista now. Laughter stung. Recorded. Labeled Forgotten Fools. Driving to Dad's. Heart pounded. He was grilling burgers. Big reveal. Tomorrow's paper. Wait till lunch. He trusted. Eyes glinting. The pressure peaked. Emotions ready to flood. The office air turned stale. Heavy with unspoken dread as diligence deepened. Executives eyed each other suspiciously. Harlan's charisma fraying like cheap thread. I was the silent storm. Feeding Phantom every nugget, misallocated budgets. Falsified metrics. One late night, accessing HR files during overtime, I uncovered attrition spikes tied to cuts, data Dad would have predicted. Anonymous blasts intensified, detailed audits exposing $1.2 million in consulting vapor. Board convened emergencies. Harlan blamed saboteurs. In halls, he snapped. Find the leak. I kept low. But the emotional dam strained, vindication swelling. Nexus hummed. Clients praising efficiencies. Dad texted. Miss our talks. Guilt mixed with drive. Final push. Planted clause in legal docs allowing pre-close restructuring on negligence. Harlan bluffed Zoom calls with Jordan, sweating through buzzwords. I proofed his board speech, fluffy legacy talk. Annotated copies, true legacy ignored. Slipped in.
Seed sown.
Pulled into war room. Notes. In turn. Harlan's collar soaked. Scanned slush funds. Condensed report. Sent anon. Night drive to Dad's. He was porch sitting. Tools aside. Take out tacos.
Beers.
Storm coming. Bigger than you think. He squeezed my hand. Tension maxed, the burst near. Morning. Board buzzed. I positioned as aide. When moment hit, I shed disguise. The building's atmosphere shifted to paranoia. Like a pot about to overflow. Directors huddled. Phones buzzing with my planted alerts. Harlan paced offices, accusing staff of disloyalty. I stayed shadowed. But every overheard call was gold. Admissions of corner cutting. Buried in emails I mirrored. 1 week. During a tech audit task, I uncovered a robotics contract paid. Never delivered. Modeled for Phantom. Liability bomb. Anonymous forward to board. Explosion contained. But damage done. Harlan's memos turned desperate. Restore faith. Slack mocked him with memes. I saved them for morale. Dad visited apartment. You're wired tight. Showed him Nexus demo. This could have saved my job. His words ignited the final surge. Escalated. Full exec, pipeline copied. Redlined with gaps. Sent as urgent overview. Whispers turned to shouts. Harlan canceled appearances. In elevator alone. I rehearsed. The reveal. Pressure unbearable. Rage. Triumph mingling. Thursday huddle. Coffee duty. Harlan. Don't spill. Girl. Draft shoved at me. Proofed. Annotated. Forgot passed. Pile slipped. That night. Dad's house. Generator humming. Shawarma.
Beers.
Paper tomorrow noon. He nodded. Okay. Trust fueled me. Back. The dam burst inwardly, ready for tomorrow's flood. The boardroom's oak table gleamed under cold lights. Tension thick as fog. I entered, dropping the intern act, suit sharp, Gaze steel. Lila, a director murmured. Mia Harlan, I corrected, sliding the packet across. Phantom Partners principal. And Sterling's new owner. Harlan choked. Impossible. But papers proved it. Approvals. Clauses. Irrevocable transfer. Board knew. Tech Promises won them. I opened the door. Dad stepped in, dignified in navy blazer. Your new head of operations, Jack Harlan. Harlan's jaw dropped. Silence reigned. Vote swift. CEO ousted. Harlan exited like a specter. No glory. I addressed them. This company erased its builders, like my father, who gave everything. No more. Nods followed. Air clearing. In his new office, Dad set his mug down. Thought it was lost. Kept it for this. Eyes misty. He settled in. We walked out front doors. Side by side. The building loomed, but harmless now. Justice tasted bittersweet. Did it heal? Or echo the cycle? The question hung. A quiet echo in the wind.